Welcome to the Love City Arts Podcast. I'm Andre in the Flow. I wanted to create a space where artists could come together and encourage all of humanity through the arts. So welcome to that space. For more information, to follow my journey and the journey of all of our artists, visit andreintheflow.com and lovecityarts.org. Please enjoy today's episode, and thanks for listening.
Don't let the stars get in your eyes, don't let the moon break your heart. Love blooms at night, in the daylight it dies. Don't let the stars get in your eyes, so keep your heart for me for someday after. You know you're the only one I'll ever love. You're the only one I'll ever love.
Bobby Blue the Balladeer is a dynamic and spectacular performer accompanied by his four-piece band. He is a countertenor folk singer of original songs, early American country, and Mexican folk songs. The sound is of the Old West, like something you would hear in an old cowboy western film. Inspired by Patsy Cline, Lola Beltran, and Roy Rogers, his band is all acoustic and includes vocals, acoustic flamenco guitar, a fiddle, and hand percussion. Join me now in my conversation with Bobby Blue the Balladeer as we discuss adult spelling bees, the effects of Facebook, triumph after bullying, and so much more.
Try those big brown eyes and smile, dear. Banish all those tears and please don't cry. Kiss me once again, hold me, Mexicali rose.
Hi, Bobby.
Hi, Andre.
How's your day going?
Good. It's a sunny day out. It's a lazy day, so I'm just kind of sitting around.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right. I'm sure we'll get out at some point. Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about yourself in addition to what I've said.
My name is Bobby Blue, the Balladeer. A little bit of background, I guess a good background about myself is where I'm from. I'm from Bedford, Indiana, but I wasn't raised in a normal Indiana home. My mother is from Costa Rica, and I was brought up in a very Latin home in the middle of Indiana. And my father is a good old boy from the backwoods of Indiana. And I grew up with a very kind of split personality, surroundings, cultural surroundings, especially with music. My father listened to country music. My mother listened to, lots of Latin music, mostly mariachi, and then again ABBA in Spanish. I never really knew ABBA was sang in English until I was like 13 years old, because my mother loved the ABBA and Spanish albums, so I knew all of those.
I didn't even know that ABBA had Spanish music.
ABBA is actually like they sing most of it. Like all of their big hits are not only sang in English, but they're also singing Spanish, Italian. Look it up. They sing in many languages.
Amazing.
They're international pop stars. I mean, that's how they kind of made themselves so world renowned.
Curiosity wants me to ask you, what's your favorite ABBA song then?
Oh, Chiquitita.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're in Indiana.
Spanish is the most beautiful thing.
I love it.
Yeah.
So you're in Indiana. You're listening to this Spanish music in your home.
Mm-hmm.
And where does Baby Bobby Blue, the Balladeer, get its inspiration?
Oh, just basically, I don't know, like when you're Latin, it's kind of fun. I don't know if this is a Latin thing, but I feel like it's in a lot of Latin homes, like they're like, if you can do a little something like entertaining or, they're always like, it seems like people are always pushing you out in the front of family gatherings and so forth to do something. And they just kind of like almost treat you like a show monkey when you're a little kid. So, getting out is like, I think the first thing that I remember is one time my uncle was here. I was like 4 years old, and my mother had put on the song Rhinestone Cowboy by Glenn Campbell. And she said, sing along, show your uncle, She actually has that on cassette. recorded or on cassette. So I don't know. Inspiration, just kind of like, I guess the feel the need to get up and do it. I don't know exactly where that inspiration always comes from, the need to get up and do it. But when I was little, that's all it took, was like somebody to say, do this or sing this, and I was dancing or singing, or that's kind of what inspired the young Bobby Blue Balladeer.
I love it. What inspires now the adulting Bobby Blue the Balladeer to get out into New York City and all of these other locations and share your art?
The inspiration to do that. I mean,
because you're gigging all over the city. I see on your social media, and everything
yeah,
that you're in these spaces singing your 4-octave heart out. So
yeah. Yeah, those, I mean, I don't know. It's just the need I guess the need to get out and do it, to feel accomplished, to do only the thing that I feel that I was really meant to do. So as far as like getting out and doing it, I mean, I have no problem getting out on stage. I've been on stage for, most of my adult life, I guess. And I don't know. Also, I also have a spelling bee that I've curated and has become quite popular. At first, it was called the Williamsburg Spelling Bee, but recently we've moved to the New York City Spelling Bee. So, down in downtown New York.
what is that?
Oh,
I've never.
we're gonna get all over the place today.
This
Okay,
is
so
no, this is cool. I didn't know that you had a Williamsburg spelling bee. So
well,
yeah, tell me about that.
it's an adult spelling bee. Basically, it's an adult spelling bee where adults can come and spell with the addition of alcohol if they like. Now, we don't have a lot of drinkers at spelling bees, but we do have a lot of people who like to compete. And we started this about 14 years ago. And when it started, I had really, I just kind of approached Pete's Candy Store in Williamsburg, asked them if they would like to try like an adult spelling bee as like a game, because they were well known as like the trivia. They were like one of the first places to have trivia. They like do game like a bingo there and other board games and so forth. So I thought that would be a good place to approach. And once that happened, they flipped out and said, yes, of course, it sounds amazing. I kind of didn't realize, I didn't know it was going to be kind of as successful as it was. And within 3 weeks, Good Morning America was there, and the Today Show was there a few weeks later, and almost every week for 12 years we had media at that show, the New York Times and everything. But the past couple of years we've only been doing corporate events, but we've recently just started doing a spelling bee season, not exactly all year long, but it's going to be a bee season, and we're starting it at Caveat on the Lower East Side. So now we call it the New York City Spelling Bee since it's moved to Manhattan.
Okay, Caveat on the Lower East Side of New York City. Where can people find information about how to attend the spelling bee?
They can get online, and they can always look up Spelling NYC, Bobby Spelling NYC. They can also just generally put in the Williamsburg Spelling Bee, and everything will come up. Yeah, and on Facebook as well. I haven't changed it to the new. I'm supposed to change the title soon, but I haven't done that yet.
Cool, yeah, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard. I remember when I was a kid, I lost the citywide spelling bee. This is a bit of a traumatic story, but a childhood trauma. I lost the Richmond City spelling bee to the word petunia. I spelled it Petuna. And it's amazing how some of those things will stick with you over time. So I guess you're giving some adults an opportunity to redeem themselves.
Oh, we have a lot of that. We have a lot of that redemption. A lot of people looking for redemption. A lot of people, and we have some amazing spellers. It's amazing to see somebody's brain work like that. I think it's a very interesting thing.
That's cool. I have a few questions for you. What is love to you? Switching gears,
sure.
What is your personal?
The love is, I think what I've always been shown. I think as a child, love is the nurturing, caring of something. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, and I guess that could go towards your art. That can go towards people around you.
Well, I think anything you're willing to give time to and nurture and nature it, or nurture and care for it.
Yeah.
Then we can, that's obviously, some emotional effort put toward, whether it's a plant or, a city or, your children. Yeah.
When did you first know that you were loved?
I don't know if I ever knew that I wasn't loved. My mother's a
Uh,
very affectionate person. She was very very outwardly emotional and always just there with a hug, kiss, and an "I love you," like always. So I don't exactly know a time when I wasn't. Yeah,
you just always felt it. You always knew that it was there for you.
I was always told and felt it. Yes, both. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Why do you love?
I don't know what else to do with it. But it's here. I don't know what else to do. I don't know how to use it. What was the question?
Just why do you love? Sometimes, and like, what's your inspiration for love? Does it come from the fact that that was an example that you saw growing up, or do you feel like it's needed in the world, or?
Well, I don't know. I think like for me, I feel like that it is a natural response to things. I think I don't, that there's always been a part of me that's always, I felt, was always interested in helping people or making the world a better place in one way or another. That's always been very important to me. And that is why you love. So you can, you can infiltrate things, very simply. Oh God, this is a tough question.
You're doing great.
I feel that you can. Yeah, well, I feel that you can infiltrate, there are choices in love. There are choices in everything that you do. I mean, you can sit around and you can talk about, things that you don't like, complain about things, or you can actually use that time to tell someone that tell someone that they love them or that you love them. You can, it's like you can either. Okay.
Yeah,
Like
you're saying love as an action, love as a doing, love as a being, as opposed to just letting things go on as usual.
Well, I mean, we're so nurtured. Talking about nurtured. Okay, so we're very inspired to continuously talk about things that we don't like, whether it's online. We're very much in this bubble of the computer or your cell phone, and we're there. We're so right there, and we can. And I used to be on Facebook more than I am now, and I think that the one thing that I realized about Facebook was that there's just so much negativity being poured into Facebook, and and people really sit in this bubble, and it's a way to get people to respond. But unfortunately, people are not inspiring people to respond in a loving way. They're using that time. Like, think of all the time that we've wasted. I mean, I've wasted many hours and years on Facebook or the internet fighting with somebody or arguing with somebody when I actually could have been using that time to tell someone else how I feel about them, to say that I care, to be doing something. So so that's why, if that gives you more of a physical idea, a reasoning, that is why I love, because it is absolutely necessary that we start making the choices to talk about what we want, not what we don't want.
Yes, Bobby Blue, the Balladeer. Amazing.
I came about it somehow. That's
yeah. No, I love it. I love it. what fills your love tank? Like, if not, I know the singing does it for you. I've seen videos of you on stage. You're just living your best life, singing
Yeah.
it through the rafters. What other things fill you up?
I love the sun. I love the sky. I love flowers. Those things really, like, I love birds. Those things really fill me up. The basic nature of those things are amazing. Something that, I like a lot of people, I struggle sometimes with depression, especially if it's been gray a million days. But the one thing that you always know, regardless of whether it's gray out or whether it's the gray is in yourself, is that the sun always comes out. And even though, like, I might get down once in a while, I'm very good at being resilient and picking myself up out of that, just because I know the sun eventually comes out. So that's why I love the sun. But and for some reason, I have a deep admiration for that and the earth and their nature. But I love, of course, I love music. I love musicals. Not so many musicals. I like a few musicals, but the few musicals I do love, they completely ramp my heart up. Like, The Sound of Music is like the best thing in the whole world.
Yes.
Then just and lately I've been loving nostalgia. I don't like to dwell in the past, but lately I've been feeling that I love the feelings of nostalgia of what it's like to go back to the 90s and live during this time, or what I was doing, in the 90s, or how I was feeling. And I think the biggest heartbreak of that is that you can never kind of bring that back fully. You can never re-experience, what you experience. You only have nostalgia. So lately I've been really loving nostalgia.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, there was a simplicity back in the day, as we say, with not having to be tethered to our cell phones all the time. There were no notifications going off. You could take a walk, and maybe when you got home, you'd get your voicemail messages off of the voice machine with the tape. For me, it seemed to be a more simple and slow, less complex time. And so, yeah, nostalgia has its place for remembering, and for me,
Yeah.
being grateful for having, come this far,
Yes. Yeah. But we're still here in one piece.
We're still here in one piece.
Yeah.
The 90s to now. If you care to be so vulnerable, tell me about a time when love, where you didn't receive love, or love didn't work out for you. And I'm not just talking maybe romantic love. I'm just talking about a time when you said, you know, everyone has depressive episodes. I'm a person who has struggled in that path as well. Um, is there anything that you care to share about those low moments and what you learned
Share
from them?
about them. I mean, I can tell you about them. I think, I think a lot of LGBT apostrophe rest QT. I'm sorry, they keep
Plus
adding
sign,
another
plus
letter
sign,
to
plus sign.
it.
Yes, yes.
So I'm starting.
Plus,
I
plus,
want to add a
plus.
rest sign in there from the music signature.
I love it.
Yeah, so you can go LGP.
Breath mark.
PQ, right. Face emoji.
Yes.
But I think that school was a very difficult time for me. I was horribly bullied. I was one of those people who was lucky enough to survive, without doing anything extreme. And I feel very lucky to have survived what I had. Growing up in a small town, being effeminate, being Latin. Those types of things aren't really good in those types of places, or seen as positive. So, like all through school, love was not given to me hardly at all outside of the home. So yeah, I knew what that was from a very early age, and I thought it was very cruel from a very early age. I never felt that I deserved it. I just thought it was really cruel. I knew I was standing in the eyes of hatred. People were looking at me with disdain.
Did you have you said that there was so much earlier, you said there was so much love in the home, and so to have to face that hatred outside, I'm sure it was difficult to even leave the front door. at
Oh, it was
times.
like my parents never understood. I never told them. I was too embarrassed to tell my mother and father what was going on at school. And in a lot of ways, I thought that they would. Like, I don't think they would have, but I thought that they would have put it back on me. Like, well, it's your fault. Why do you act that way? Why do you dress that way? Like I always thought that they were going to put it back on me. So
Yeah.
I just never said anything, and I was quite embarrassed. And they didn't know why it was such a struggle to get me up and out of bed and out. Well, yeah, just to get me out to school every day was a horror. And I did it. I did it for 13 years. And I just kind of kept it. And I had a lot of stressful episodes because of it. Nobody knew why I was having these stressful episodes. So yeah, definitely did not feel love then at all.
Yeah. What was about the time in your life where things started to kind of turn around and you started to step into, the Bobby Blue that we are meeting today?
Hmm. I don't know. I think that there's a few different times. I mean, I don't really believe that people change all that much, but I do believe that things happen in your life to inspire you to grow even further. Um, so I don't. I mean, there are several times. I mean, I've always been a loudmouth, whether or not I was bullied or not. Like I was always a loudmouth. I was always doing what I wanted and dressing how I wanted, and being just being me. But um, um, I think that of course, like when I got out of high school, I think that is, for a lot of people, that's the area where we kind of start feeling, and we start seeing other people like us.
Yeah.
I grew up in Bedford, but next door to us, and I lived actually where my parents lived was actually closer to Bloomington, Indiana, which is where Indiana University is. Indiana University has always been in, like, I don't know if it's actually true because I've never looked at that. Well, I haven't looked it up recently, but like Bloomington has like the second largest gay population per capita, only second to San Francisco, and like it also has like a really great music school. So there are people from all over the world there. So once I got out of high school, it was very easy for me to escape to Bloomington, which was 10 miles down the road, and be in this. And once I got to do what I wanted to do, 18, 19 years old, then I started meeting more people like me. I started becoming more comfortable, with being gay or that type of coming of age stories. But then, there are several different areas where you're like, oh, wow, I've been holding it back on this, and I shouldn't, I should do this. And once you try different things, in your life, it changes you or makes you grow a little bit further. So, I guess that's, I hope that's answering your question.
No, it is. It is. It's awesome when we step out of our immediate surrounding, particularly, I was also bullied as a kid. And once you find community and find those mirrors, people that are mirroring what you're going through and kind of telling you or showing you, more importantly, that you're okay, there's a certain freedom to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Um,
absolutely.
good
There's,
luck.
I mean, there's a lot of like weird things about that time though, because I can honestly say, yeah, coming out was very easy and like and very welcomed. Like having to have met a lot of people after I'd left high school and left Bedford, but at the same time, like there's a whole lot of like anxiety that goes along with that. It's just like you're new and these new people, you're in college or whatever, and you have all these people around you, and all you're trying to do is be as worldly and sophisticated as all of them, because I come from this little town of Bedford, Indiana, where I thought I was like the artsy one there, but then you actually meet people who are from big cities and from different countries, and they're so sophisticated and so cool, and
Mhm.
everybody's trying to, and you're trying to have to, and that's also like just a pressure to try to keep up with that. I never kept up with that pressure in high school, so I never even had the opportunity, not having many friends, so I never had the opportunity of doing that. But once you get a little approval from a group of friends, it's kind of hard not to want to try to continuously to try to get their approval. But of course, growing out of that, of course, was then yet another rite of passage. So we
Tell
go
me
through a
about
lot of
that.
things. Like,
Tell me about that,
well,
right? Tell me,
well,
tell,
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just like, tell me about that, right? Like getting beyond the need for approval, because I think that's a space that I'm stepping into as well, personally.
I think that there's a moment where you just, I don't know, like I can't tell you when it happened. I just know that all I know is that this is my life. Even if there is reincarnation, it's not like you remember it. And past life regression therapy is very expensive. And if you don't know what your financial situation is going to be like in your next life, you better live it up now and be everything that you ever wanted to be and do everything that you ever wanted to do. It is absolutely your duty. I see it like I think that this is like a duty to go and be everything that you can try to be. Everything that you can be. Try it. That's I guess my answer.
Woo! All right. Well, I have a few fill in the blanks for you because that was an exclamation point, Bobby Blue. Wow. Fill in the blanks here. I know that we have already talked about what love is to you and what love means. Joy is blank.
Joy is probably being on a game show and being really happy about getting an answer right.
Okay. And then
because I always thought that was really fun. I always wanted to be on a game show.
Oh, what game show do you drink? Like, is it The Price is Right?
Most likely, it's Price is Right. Price is Right.
Like you see yourself like running down, and then what are you winning?
Losing my tube top on the way down to
yes.
the row. Yes.
And what would be the ideal? Do you have a favorite game to play?
I don't know. I never really thought that far.
You just want to spin the wheel?
Of course, I want to spin the wheel.
Okay, you're like, duh.
Yeah.
Okay, fill in the blank. Freedom is.
Freedom is the feeling of comfort of being completely and 100% yourself.
Very, very good, my friend. Very, very good. Do you have any upcoming shows? Any upcoming spelling bees?
I have a few things coming on. So just real quick, I'd like to get a chance to just kind of describe what I'm doing musically real quick, if you don't mind. We kind of went into the spelling bee.
Go for it.
Okay, so my music is basically a combination of my mother and father. Whether or not that's looking for approval, not quite. Well, kind of maybe. Maybe I started doing this music to get the approval of my parents. I don't know, but it's definitely a combination. One thing that really brought my family, or at least my mother and father, together as far as liking a song was when a song had both Spanish and English in it. For example, something like El Paso by Marty Robbins, or some of those other like Western songs. And it's not necessarily country. They used to call it country Western, but it's Western music, and Western meaning cowboy. And I like 1930s and 40s, like very inspired by 1930s and 40s cowboys, and the beautiful voices of that period.
Yes.
They were not trying to, I don't know, like the voices got a little gritty later in the later years, 50s and 60s. But in the 30s and 40s, they were still trying to sing very proper, and I really enjoy that. And I love the fact that they also combine with it. When you do Western music, I mean, the one thing the West is Mexico. So if you're talking about cowboys and everything, they not only spoke Spanish, but they also sang in Spanish and had they interchanged. Like Roy Rogers sang a few things in Spanish. Gene Autry, Tex Ritter, those guys. Very inspired by them. Patsy Cline, big inspiration, and I absolutely love rockabilly music, rhythm and blues.
Yes.
But as far as that's what I've been doing lately, and also like I have in concert. I just recorded a new record. And on that record, I'm not really putting it out yet. I'm maybe looking for a little label or somebody who may want to support it before I put it out. But I have released the song. I did all covers this time. I never really do covers, but I did all covers this album. And one of them that I did release, it's on Bandcamp, is my cover of "I Fall to Pieces" by Patsy Cline, which has a little bit more of a Mexican edge to it. Yes. And then in concert, we do a tripped out version of the Madonna song, "Who's That Girl?" And the reason is, we do, I kind of came across it one day, and I was like, wow, because a lot of Mexican music and a lot of country music actually have like what they call legend songs. They sing about a gun, famous gun tote or like a very famous gun shooter, or in Mexican we get a little bit more folklore, like we talk about witches ghosts and people in old music. So when you're talking about, when I started looking at Who's That Girl, I was like, wow, this is like a ranchera song from Mexico that's been flipped out and turned into like an 80s song. So I feel like I've kind of reclaimed the song because it's a very flipped out, tripped out Mexican ranchera version of Madonna's Who's That Girl. And I think it's actually more appropriate. Madonna is wonderful. I love Madonna. Don't get me wrong. And she gave me the space to do that. But I think people are really going to be quite surprised. It's always a really, really big hit live. And so when the record comes out, that's on there. I think that'll be a nice thing. But getting back to when we have shows, my next show is at Jalopy in Red Hook on April 11th. The show starts at 9. Which is always a great place. That's at Roots and the entire night is called Roots and Ruckus, where they have different folk acts come and perform for 30 minutes apiece. It's a great, great, great show. I'm so happy to be part of the family at Jalopy. And then after that, we have a show on May 25th at the Way Station, who I perform with. I performed that with my friend Anna. We don't perform together. Our bands perform back to back, but it's a little bit different than a regular show. Band show. What we do is a little bit more of a cabaret. So we invite, a magician or a sword swallower to host the night and also perform between sets. It's been really successful. So that's happening on May 25th at the Way Station in Brooklyn. And then, of course, the last show that I know of at this point is June 30th at Pete's Candy Store. And that is the sum up of the live of Bobby Blue, the Balladeer, for the next few months.
Yes. I'll be sure to put all of those on my website and then also point people in your direction as well.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today and joining us. Man, this has been a really, really, really good conversation.
Oh, I hope I didn't stutter and flub up too much, but I appreciated you calling me and asking me. Thank you, Andre, very much. It's very kind for you to think of me.
Of course, of course.
I gave you my heart with your heart, baby. All my kisses to boot. And I gave you my heart with your heart, baby. All my kisses to boot. And if you feel you'd like to make a deal, cock your pistol and root toot toot. Bang, 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 bang. Bang, 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 bang. Bang, 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 bang.
Thank you for listening to the Love City Arts podcast today. For more information, to follow my journey and the journey of all of our artists, visit andreandtheflow.com and lovecityarts.org. Thanks again for listening. Hi there, everybody. It's Andre and the Flow from Love City Arts. I hope that wherever you are on the planet today, that you're feeling all of the love that the universe has for you, and also know that I love you as well. I wanted to stop by to tell you about a few of the offerings we now have from Love City Arts. We now have a podcast, our monthly giveaways, our healing gatherings, our blog, and also a soon-to-be-formed book club. For more information, log on to lovecityarts.org. I cannot wait to share all of the love